So this is me just trying to get my more books done. So this is just going to be the first video in a sequence of me trying to read books, more books as I used to, so that I can get back to enjoying reading again because the pandemic has kind of ruined that. Now, this first book is hard to see what it is, but it's a nice little hardcover, isn't it? Nice and hardcover. Got this at a secondhand bookstore. This is the world's great classics, classical literature of Asia. And the first one today that we'll be reading, or rather I'll be reading and you'll be listening to, but it doesn't matter, is going to be some selections from the Panchatantra, specifically some of the parables from that selection. Now, from the Panchatantra, which was composed about the 2nd century A.D., as translated by Charles R. Lanman, born in 1850, passing away in 1941. The following fables of India. Because I almost started reading the intro, but that's okay. We're just hanging out. This isn't a serious thing, really. This is more just me doing things so that I can enjoy myself, and then maybe someone else can enjoy these. Who knows? Point being, this is a thing I'm doing. You're gonna like it. Just kidding. Okay, so this one is a parable called The Lion Makers. Even men of learning and noble birth are sometimes devoid of common sense. Ain't that the truth? For true is the saying, book learning people rightly cherish, but gumption's best of all to me. Bereft of gumption you shall perish, like to the lion makers 3. How is that? Said the man with the wheel, and the gold magician narrated. In a certain place there dwelt 4 Brahmin youths, in the greatest friendship. 3 of them had got to the further shore of the ocean of science, but were devoid of common sense, while the 4th had common sense only, and no mind for science. Now once upon a time, these friends took counsel together, and said, of what profit is science, if we cannot go with it to some foreign country, and win the favor of princes and make our fortune? Therefore to the eastern country let us go. And so it came to pass. Now, after they had gone a little way, the eldest spoke. There is one among us, the 4th, who has no learning, but only common sense. And a man can't get presents from kings by common sense without learning. Not a whit will I give him of all that I gain, so let him go home. And the 2nd said, Ho there, Gumption, get you homeward, for you have no learning. But the 3rd made answer, Alas, it is not fitting so to do, for we have played together since we were boys. So let him come along too. He's a noble fellow, and shall have a share in the riches that we win. On then they went together, till in a jungle they saw the bones of a dead lion. Then spoke the 1st, Ha! Now we can put our book learning to the test. Here lies some sort of a dead creature. By the power of our learning we'll bring it to life. I'll put the bones together. And that then he did, with zeal. The 2nd added flesh, blood, and hide. But just as the 3rd was breathing the breath of life into it, Gumption, oops, I messed that up, that's okay. You make mistakes, you just move on. The 2nd added flesh, blood, and hide. Then, but just as the 3rd was breathing the life into it, Gumption stopped him and said, Hold, this is a lion that you're turning out. If you make him alive, he'll kill every one of us. Thereupon made answer the other, Fie, stupid! Is learning to be fruitless in my hands? Well then, said Gumption, just wait a bit till I climb a tree. Thereupon the lion was brought to life. But the instant this was done, he sprang up and killed the 3. Afterwards, Gumption climbed down and went home. Therefore, concluded the gold magician, therefore I say, Book learning people rightly cherish, but gumption's best of all to me. Bereft of gumption you shall perish, like to the lion makers three. Now that was a very interesting story. It's definitely a parable, and you can kind of see the lesson there, wherein you can be very well read and very well learned and not have any common sense and gonna get eaten by a lion. But basically the point is that you can't just learn. You have to have common sense. You have to do things in the way that makes it feasible in the real world. Like they were doing. You don't no, I've learned how to make a fire, and then you start a fire and then you get burned. You gotta have that common sense. Anyway, so that was the first video. Again, just doing this for myself, doing for fun. Doesn't have to. You can enjoy if you enjoy it. Anyone who ends up watching this, which I don't know who would, but I hope you do enjoy it. And thank you. And we'll read our next section of this book next time. I do really like that parable though. That parable is very good. I like the message in it, and I can see why it was considered to be a classic in the realm of the world that it was part of. And thank you very much, and until next time.